Hello. Well, I hope you can hear this, but I'm delighted to be here talking to you about music A-level. My name's John Bowley. I'm the head of music at JCG, and for the next quarter of an hour or so, I'm going to be explaining why music is such a fantastic choice for A-level. So I hope you can now see a PowerPoint that I've got in front of me. This will walk you through what the course is all about. Okay, so it's rather like the GCSE course in that it's made up of 3 sections. So they are the performance, composition, and set works. So appraising a number of different pieces of music. So I'll go through these in turn and then sum it all up. To start off with, there's a performance, and again, as I'd said, just like the GCSE, we record you performing in 1 or more pieces at college, which makes it feel like a recital. And of course, you'll be in the upper 6th, and so we hope will be very accustomed by then of performing in front of people, and certainly in front of a video camera. And you can play or you can sing, and you can play or sing in an ensemble, you can improvise, and you can use music tech. So there's a great breadth of ways in which you can perform. And altogether, it has to work about, you have to perform for 8 minutes. Thank you, Mr. Marrett, for that email. Good, this is working. So a bit more detail. You have to perform at least 1 piece, and it must be live and uninterrupted. Now, importantly, you can have more than 1 go at this. So if you think you could have done better, you needn't worry, and we can go back a few days later, a week, a month later, and have another go. And in total, it's 8 minutes. Okay, and I think that students who take music A-level are practical musicians. They're all having instrumental or vocal lessons. So this is something that you're used to anyway, but it's nice to be able to set your bar high and work towards this, have it contribute towards your A-level. The second section is composition. And just like in GCSE, then you have to prepare a score of music, and this is great. You know, it allows students to be creative, and what a wonderful thing that is when so many subjects you're stuck learning one specific formula or other, but here you have free rein. We have a suite of computers equipped with Sibelius, a composing software. But there are other fantastic softwares out there, some free like Muse, which you can use, but you can use our Sibelius at no additional charge. And your creativity can show no bounds. You can write for small forces or large. It could be for a piano, it could be for a choir, it could be for an enormous orchestra. It's up to you. As long as it's coherent and makes sense, then we will support you. And of course, you'll get weekly lessons in your composition. So by the end of the course, you'll feel really confident in what you're doing and what you submit. And one of the pieces has to be 4 minutes, and one of them 2. At least that's what the rubric says, but there's a little bit more detail here. Your main piece, the 40 marker, is totally free choice, but the other one has to come from a set of briefs, and what we normally choose is a Bach chorale. So it's a free composition or and a chorale, and that is in effect a hymn tune. And students ask, well, why am I writing a hymn? And there's a very good answer for that, which is that the nuts and bolts of Western society music can all be found in a simple hymn. All the harmony that goes into a normal hymn you can find in pretty much all music that we study. So if you've got a good understanding of what makes a decent hymn, then you'll be in very good shape. And we do it in the style of J.S. Bach, that famous Baroque composer. And it was at that period where all the laws were set out, really. So we get you to that you're given the melody and you have to harmonize it as if you are Bach himself. And then there are the set works. So section 1, section 2, performance, composition, each attract 30%, whereas the third paper, appraising of the set works, is 40% of the overall mark. And I've got the basic details here. You're given an individual CD and you get asked short questions about it and a couple of longer questions. That's it in real brief. So the short questions are aimed at you being able to pinpoint specific things that they ask for and explaining what you can see in front of you, what you've heard in the excerpt, whereas the longer essays are more interesting. One of them, you compare a piece of music you've never heard before, to a piece you know, and the other is a more in-depth reply to a question on one of your set works. And that's fantastic. It means you can really get under the bonnet of the music that you are studying, and you can put it in a context too, both within its time and what came before and after. Now, Dr. Smith is a great help in all of this, and now you may wonder, what on earth am I on about? But hopefully I can share something else with you here, but maybe it's quicker if I just tell you what Dr. Smith is. It's an acronym. The D stands for dynamics, R for rhythm, S for structure, M for melody and meter, I for instrumentation, T for texture, tempo, timbre, tonality, H for harmony. So in other words, all the elements that make up the music that we listen to, and we listen to such a broad range of music, but Dr. Smith is there to help us unpick it all. And the reason I think it's such a fantastic course is that it does cater for all of our musical tastes and experience. So the sections that we study vocal music, instrumental music, music for films, popular music, fusion, and new directions. And that encapsulates the whole lot of our musical experience, doesn't it? Which is brilliant. It's one of the great strengths of this course that music from across the spectrum is studied. And that leaves you as an individual with a fantastic understanding of music of the world. What a treat that is, actually, I'd say. Here are the pieces that you study in depth. A cantata by Bach and a song by Vaughan Williams. So enormously different. These are all enormously different pieces, but all hugely famous in their own right and for good reason. And then instrumentally, Clara Wieck-Schumann and Berlioz, so more romantic music there. And then music for film. Where would we be in film without our background music, whether it's joyous or frightening? And then there's popular music, 3 of those, and then fusion music. Maybe that needs some explanation. Fusion music rather like fusion food, is where you take something from one tradition and something from another, and you put them together, and hopefully you've got a wonderful new meal for your palate. And musically, certainly, that can mean you can have some wonderful creative pieces of music. And so we look at a couple of those here, in fact, more than a couple. And then we ask the question, where are we going next? And we have both Sariaho, who's a living composer, she's Finnish, and go back to Stravinsky even, who was asking questions 100 years ago. So from the Baroque up to the right now, we can study the music and see what makes it tick. So that's the course. Now I know there's a possibility of questions, a Q&A, and although you can't speak to me, I know that you can type, but I've put my email address at the bottom here. I know of a couple of people who can't come to this live. I've put down some questions I'll answer myself, but please don't hesitate to get in touch. First question I'm often asked: how good a musician do you have to be? Do you have to be absolutely incredible? Well, the answer is no. No, you need to be a committed musician. You have to love your music. By the time you finish in year 13, the expected level is grade 7. If you can play a grade 7 piece, that would be fantastic. Of course, if you can play grade 8 or above, then you get credit for that in addition. But it's hoped that you'll be grade 7, which means if we cast the clock back, you know, if you are grade 5 when you start in the lower 6th, then you should get to grade 7. So that's a sort of entry level, I'd say. It doesn't stop people who are not that strong, but that's a good steer. And should you have done some theory? Should you be doing theory? Yes, please. It makes so much more sense of everything that you're looking at if you've done some theory. If you haven't done any, don't worry, we run lots of extra courses, but having done some theory, and I know some boards require that, can make it less of a challenge for you. What does it go with? What subjects go with it? Is it a good choice, therefore, at A-level? Well, it's certainly seen as an academic A-level by universities, and it goes with a great number of subjects, both sciences and non. So, you know, English is frequently seen as accompanying it, but also maths and physics. It's funny, there's two sorts of musicians, sort of scientific brain and the artistic brain, and both seem to suit the subject really well. Why is it a good choice? Well, it brings you so much. Perhaps because it is sort of both sides of the brain. It helps with your self-management, performance, analysis, problem solving, and communication. The list goes on. I guess, why should I do it? Because you love music. Isn't it just the most marvelous thing? It's there from when you are a tiny child. We have music in our lives in every way. Yeah, I never cease to be amazed at how much music there is around school. Students are singing all the time. People get in their car, there's music on. You go and see a film, there's music on. It's tough when there are moments without music. It's a central part of the human existence. And so to be able to understand what makes it tick, I think, is a treat. Why should I do it? Because I love it, and the rest will take care of itself. So I'll look now to see if there are any questions, but otherwise, no, there aren't, not yet. Hopefully that means I've covered it all, then I hope you will email me if you suddenly think of something. But failing that, I look forward to seeing you starting Music A-Level next autumn. Thanks so much. Bye.